There's this expectation in language learning that it's all about mechanical precision. Like you stack the vocabulary bricks, slather on the grammar mortar, and suddenly you have a perfectly constructed sentence.
Right, but then you step into an actual real-life English conversation,
Yeah,
and that brick wall just feels entirely flat.
exactly. So, why do grammatically flawless sentences still sound completely robotic to native speakers? Well, that's what we're tackling in today's deep dive into a guide on mastering emotional expression and opinions in English.
Yeah, the mission here is really to figure out how to stop sounding like a walking dictionary and, start sounding like yourself.
I mean, think of language learning like painting. The vocabulary and grammar, that's just the pencil sketch. But sharing your feelings and opinions, that's what provides the actual color.
That's a really great analogy. And to start painting, we first need our base colors,
Right.
which means moving from simple robotic phrases like, I feel happy, to more natural expressions like saying, I'm a bit tired, but okay.
Yeah, and the crucial step the sources emphasize is adding a reason. Like, I'm tired because I had a long day.
What's fascinating here is how attaching a simple because totally transforms a flat, dead end statement.
Oh, how so?
Well, when you just recite facts in a second language, you're essentially handing someone a read only file.
A read only file. Oh, I like that.
Right. They can look at the data, but there is no mechanism for them to actually engage with it.
Right.
But psychologically, when you provide the underlying reason behind a feeling, you hand the listener a hook.
So you transform that read only file into a collaborative document.
Exactly. You give them something to edit or relate to or question.
But here's where it gets really interesting, and let me push back on that a bit.
Sure.
If I'm in a high stakes business meeting operating in a second language, my instinct is just to protect myself. I don't necessarily want to be emotionally vulnerable.
But you want to sound authoritative.
Exactly. Does this rule of adding emotion still apply in a purely professional setting?
It absolutely does. Yeah. But the nature of the emotion shifts. Vulnerability doesn't have to mean oversharing about your personal life.
Okay, so what does it look like then?
Well, in a boardroom, sharing your genuine reaction to a data point, like saying, I'm concerned about this metric because, or I'm genuinely excited by this trend because, that is still emotional expression.
Oh, I see. So it shows you have a personal stake in the outcome.
Exactly. Without that context, you're just a human spreadsheet reading off numbers.
That makes a lot of sense. So once we establish that base level of feeling, the conversation naturally evolves into exchanging ideas, right?
Yeah, exchanging opinions and reacting to others. And the guide provides frameworks for disagreeing politely, which is where a lot of non-native speakers actually freeze up.
Because they worry about causing offense.
Right. The linguistic mechanism the guide suggests here is cushioning. By validating the other person's reality before stating your own, you basically lower their neurological defenses.
By using phrases that acknowledge their point first, like, I see your point, but I feel differently.
Exactly. It prevents the conversation from turning into a zero-sum debate.
The guide also heavily emphasizes what it calls reactions. You know, those tiny phrases like, that's interesting, or, oh, I understand.
Yeah, those are so important.
See, I always thought of those as just polite filler, like just a way to buy time while you think of your next word. Are they really doing that much heavy lifting?
They do almost all the heavy lifting for empathy. Think about how human communication relies on continuous feedback.
Right.
Those small reactions signal cognitive presence. They tell the speaker, I am tracking with you in real time.
It's exactly like playing a game of tennis, isn't it?
Oh, totally.
Like, polite disagreements and active reactions are how you keep the conversational rally going rather than just letting the ball hit the court.
That's a perfect way to look at it. If you just sit there in silence until it's your turn to deliver a perfectly crafted sentence, you trigger an uncanny valley effect in the other person.
Right. They feel like they're talking to a wall.
Exactly. No matter how flawless your eventual response is, the text makes a pointed observation regarding that.
What's that?
It notes that language learners often plateau entirely because they refuse to step outside the safety of objective facts. Because facts can be graded as right or wrong.
But emotions cannot. True English fluency, then, is about sharing thoughts and emotions, not just perfectly answering factual questions.
Spot on.
So, what does this all mean for you listening right now? Well, the next time you practice, try to focus on the emotional why of your day, not just the factual what.
What? It makes all the difference.
Which leaves you with something to ponder. If real communication requires emotional expression, how much of your true personality are you accidentally hiding when you only speak in facts? And Well, what conversations might open up if you finally translated your feelings?